Shalom, 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 and welcome all of you to this channel, Baruch Haba B'Shem Yahuwah. And today I'm going to do the reading of the Testament of Yitzhak, for many known as Isaac. And the video will be uploaded under the title A Message and Teaching Spoken by Yahuwah, the Most High, through Yitzhak, or Isaac. Alright, because in the Testaments itself there is a message and also a teaching in it. And do not listen to people who say that you shouldn't read the apocryphal books, because these people are actually people who try to get you away from more information. We need to read the apocryphal books because the 66 books, what we know as the Book of Scripture, or for many better known as the Bible, these books have been tremendously authorized over the, you can say, decades, hundreds of years. And you need to read the apocryphal books to get a broader understanding of the history of the house of Yisrael and the history of the Yisraelites. And if you yourself are a Yisraelite, you need to read the apocryphal books. And this is also part of the apocryphal books, the testaments of the patriarchs. But I'm going to read it because I have discovered that there is a deep meaning, message and teaching in it. So okay, with this said, I start with chapter 1. Now the patriarch Yitzhak writes his testament and addresses his words of instructions to his son Jacob, or Yisrael, and to all those gathered around him. The blessings of the patriarch will be on those who come after us, even those who listen to these words of instruction and these medicines of life. Wow. So that the grace or favor of Yahuwah may be with all those who truly believe and really believe. This is the end of obedience, as it is written. You have heard a word, let it abide with you. Which means that a man should strive patiently with what he hears. Yahuwah gives grace to those who believe. He who believes the words of Yahuwah and his saints, and of his saints. So he who believes the words of Yahuwah and of his saints will be an inheritor of the kingdom of Yahuwah. Yahuwah has been with the generations gone by, which have passed away because of their innocence and their faith toward Yahuwah. He will also be with the generations to come. Now it came to pass, when the time had come for the patriarch Yitzhak to go forth from the body, Yahuwah sent to him the messenger of his father Abraham at dawn on the 22nd of Nisor. He said to him, Greetings, son of promise. Now it was the daily custom of the righteous old man Yitzhak to converse with the messengers he lifted his face up to the face of the messenger. He saw him assuming the likeness of his father Abraham. And he opened his mouth and raised his voice and cried out in great joy. And note that the messenger of Yahuwah has presented himself in the likeness of Abraham. Why? Not to scare Yitzhak, although Yitzhak was already familiar with the fact that messengers could visit them. So Yitzhak says, I have seen your face like someone who has seen the face of Yahuwah. The messenger said to him, Listen, my beloved Yitzhak, I have been sent for you by Yahuwah to take you to the Shim'on and set you beside your father Abraham, so that you can see all the things. For your father is expecting you and is coming for you himself. Behold, a throne has been set up for you close to your father Abraham, and your lot and your beloved son Yahuah'S lot will surpass that of all others in the whole of Yahuwah's creation. That is why you have been given forevermore the name of Patriarch and Father of the world. Wow, I didn't know this. But the Yahuwah, loving old man Yitzhak, said to the messenger, I am astonished by you, for you are my father. The messenger answered, My beloved Yitzhak, I am the messenger that ministers to your father Abraham. But rejoice now, for I am to take you out of sorrow into gladness, out of suffering to rest forever. I am to transport you from prison to a place where you can range at will. Mention here, wow, I hope you have heard this, because many people have said this. Many people feel that the life they live here on this piece of land called earth as a prisoned life. They say we are in a prison. What is it saying here? It is saying, I am to transport you from prison to a place where you can range at will, to a place of joy and gladness. I am to take you to where there is light and merriment and rejoicing and abundance that never fails. So then, draw up your testament and a statement for your household, for I am to translate you to rest for all eternity. Blessed is your father who begot you, blessed are you also. Blessed is your son Yaakov, and blessed are your descendants that will come after you. Now Yaakov heard them talking together, but he said nothing. Our father Yitzhak said to the messenger with a heavy heart, What will I do about the light of my eyes, my beloved son Yaakov? For I am afraid of what Esau might do to him. You know the situation, the messenger said to him. My beloved Yitzhak, if all the nations on earth were gathered together, they would not be able to bring these blessings pronounced over Yaakov to nothing. When you blessed him, the Father and the Son and the Ruach HaKodesh blessed him. And Michael and Gabriel, orchestrate messengers, and all the messengers, and all the heavenly ones, and the spirits of all the righteous, and your father Abraham, all answered, Amen. Therefore the sword will not touch his body, but he will be held in high honor, and grow great and spread far and wide, and 12 thrones will spring from him. 12 tribes. Our father Yitzhak said to the messenger, You have given me much comfort, but do not let Yaakov know, in case he is distressed. The messenger said to him, My beloved Yitzhak, blessed is every righteous man who goes forth from the body. Blessed are they when they meet with Yahuwah. Woe, 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 3 times woe to the sinner, because he has been born into this world. Great sufferings will come to him. Yitzhak, beloved of Yahuwah, give these instructions therefore to your sons, and the instructions your father has given you, hiding nothing from Yaakov, so that he can write them as instructions for the generations that will come after you. And those who love Yahuwah may live their lives in accordance with them. And take care that I am able to fetch you with joy, without delay, the peace of my Yahuwah, my Master, that he has given me, I give to you, as I go to him who sent me. And when the messenger had said this, he rose from the bed on which Yitzhak was sleeping. He went back to the worlds on high, while our father Yitzhak watched him. Going, astonished at the vision he had seen. And he said, I will not see daylight before I am sent for. And while he was thinking this, behold, Yaakov got up and came to the door of the room. The messenger had cast a sleep over him, so that he should not hear them. And he got up and ran to where his father slept, and said to him, My father, whom have you been talking to? Our father Yitzhak said to him, You have heard, my son. Your aged father has been sent for to be taken from you. And Yaakov put his arms around his father's neck and wept, saying, Ah me, my strength has left me. Today you have made me an orphan. My father, our father Yitzhak embraced his son Yaakov and wept, and both wept together until they could weep no more. And Yaakov said, Take me with you, Father Yitzhak. But Yitzhak replied, he would not have it so. My son, wait until you are sent for. My loved one, I remember on the day when the whole earth was shaken from end to end, talking to my master and father Abraham, and I had no strength to do anything. What Yahuwah has ordained, he has ordained for each one by sure authority. His ordinances are immutable, but I know and I am glad that I am to go to Yahuwah, the Most High, and I am strengthened by a guiding spirit, for this is a way that no one can escape. Listen, my son, Where is the first creation of the hands of Yahuwah? Our father Adam and our mother Eve. Where is Abel, and after him Mahalalel and Jared, and our father Enoch, and Methuselah, and our father Noach, and his sons Sham, Ham, and Japhet? After these Arphaxad and Canaan and Shalah and Eber and Ru and Serug and Nahor and Terah and my blessed father Abraham and his brother Lot. All these experienced death except the perfect one, our father Enoch. After these 42 generations more will pass until Yahushua HaMashiach comes, born of a pure virgin called Miriam. He will spend 30 years preaching in the world. At the end of all this, he will choose 12 men and reveal to them his mysteries, and teach them about the archetype of his body and his true blood by means of bread and wine. So this is a prophecy. Yitzhak was prophesying this to Yaakov. And the bread will become the body of Yahuwah, and the wine will become the blood of Yahuwah, and then he will ascend the tree at the stake and die for the whole creation, and rise on the third day and despoil Hades, and deliver all mankind from the enemy. Well, it is constantly said, Yahuwah loves the whole world. Yahushua was here to save the whole world. That is now going on. But the first time that Yahushua came, he wasn't here for the whole world. He was here for the house of Yisrael, to restore that house, to restore Yahuwah's bride, and to make sure that the lost members of the bride would be regathered back. So there's a huge misconception about what has happened at the stake. And many claim that he was hung there for everyone. But that is not the case, because the heathens or pagans, the majority of them, they didn't care about Yahushua in any way, shape and form. But now, when he comes back, Yahuwah has said, and this time, when Yahushua comes back, he will be there not only to gather Yahuwah's bride, but also gather together the ones that have engrafted themselves into the everlasting covenant of Yahuwah, and truly want to become a part of the Yisraelite lifestyle, and want truly to become part of Yahuwah's way of living, Yahuwah's right rulings and righteousness, which are Yahuwah's ways of living. And now Yahuwah has said that there is now room for anyone in his house, not only for the bride himself only, for the bride herself only, but also for these Gentiles or heathens or pagans that truly want to transform themselves into a righteous person. Transform themselves from a carnal person into a spiritual man. and truly want to live their life in accordance and in alignment with Yahuwah's right rulings, Yahuwah's righteousness, Yahuwah's ways of righteousness, and Yahuwah's ways of living. But the first time that Yahusha came was actually for the bride. So there's a lot of misunderstanding about what actually happened at the stake. And if people would understand that, then they would live a completely different life. But many have been falsely taught that he was there for everyone and that he saved all human species. No, because not all humans are humans. There's a lot of hybrids. And not all people are Yahuwah's people. But those people whom are of the serpent seed, they get their chance to transform themselves into a righteous person. So and that is why you need to read other apocryphal books to get a deeper understanding of what truly happened, and deliver all mankind from the enemy. The generations to come will be saved by his body, the body of Mashiach, or better known actually as the body of Yahuwah, and by his blood until the end of time. The sacrifices of believers will not cease until the end of time, whether offered secretly or openly. And the anti-Mashiach will not appear so long as they offer up their sacrifices. Blessed is every man who performs that service and believes in it, because the archetypal service is in the heavens, in the Shamayim. And they will celebrate with the Son of Yahuwah, which is Yahusha, in his kingdom. While the Yahuwah, loving old man, our father Yitzhak, was saying this, all his household gathered around him and wept. His son told all his relations, and they came to him in tears. Now our father Yitzhak had made for himself a bedroom in his house. And when his sight began to fail, he withdrew into it and remained there for 100 years, fasting daily until evening, and offering for himself and his household a young animal for their soul. And he spent half the night in prayer and praise to Yahuwah. Thus he lived an ascetic life for 100 years, and he kept 3 periods of 40 days as fasts each year, neither drinking wine, nor eating fruit, nor sleeping on his bed. And he prayed and gave thanks to Yahuwah continually. Now when it became generally known that the man of Yahuwah had regained his sight, people gathered to him from everywhere, listening to his words of life, for they realized that the Ruach HaKadosh of Yahuwah was speaking in him. The great ones who came said to him, "You can now see clearly enough. How come it is that after your sight has and had failed, you have now regained it. The Yahuwah-loving old man smiled and said to them, My sons and brothers, the Yahuwah of my father Abraham has brought this about to comfort me in my old age. But the priest of Yahuwah said to him, Tell me what I ought to do, my father Yitzhak. Our father Yitzhak said to him, Keep your body holy, for the temple of Yahuwah is set in it. Another prophecy, for the temple of Yahuwah is set in it. Here he's actually already speaking through Yitzhak that he would eventually come into us all through his Ruach HaKadosh, and eventually we all would receive the Ruach HaKadosh, no matter man, woman, child, old, young. And this is what is happening right now. If you immerse yourself in his name, you get his Ruach HaKadosh, and through this Yahuwah starts to live in us. And that is why we need to see through what we eat, what we drink, and how we treat our body. Because from that moment on, when the Ruach HaKadosh comes in us, then from that moment the body will be transformed in such a way that it becomes a temple for Yahuwah. Do not engage in controversy with other men in case an angry word escapes your mouth. Be on your guard against evil speaking, against vain glory, and against uttering any thoughtless word. And see that your hands do not reach out after what is not yours. Do not offer a sacrifice with a blemish in it. And it's funny that here it's being said, do not reach out after what is not yours. There are so many people in this world who want to have what others have. And I experienced this many times in my life, that as soon as I have something, then others want to have the same. So know that you are actually making a sin at that moment by wanting to have something another person has. So I have experienced this many times in my life. Do not offer a sacrifice with a blemish in it, and wash yourself with water when you approach the altar. Do not mix the thoughts of the world with the thoughts of Yahuwah when you stand before him. The altar is not an altar that you make outside. That's not necessary anymore. The altar is your prayer life. The sacrifice is that you do regular fastings. That is the sacrifice you do, that you lay on the altar. So everything has changed. We do not have to build ourselves altars. That is not necessary. But because many people lack in-depth information, because many people are not taught the in-depth information. But nowadays, the altar is our prayer life. And the sacrifice we do is through fasting. And that is why I do not understand why so many people, so many believers are not doing on a regular basis fastings, but just one time a year, one day a year, and that's on the Day of Atonement. Well, if that is your only sacrifice once a year, then you should question yourself if you truly love Yahuwah. Because if you truly love Yahuwah, you sacrifice yourselves many times a year. Do your utmost to be at peace with everyone. When you stand before Yahuwah and offer your sacrifice, when you come to offer it on the altar, you should recite privately 100 prayers to Yahuwah and make this confession to Yahuwah. Well, in that time they probably had far more time to do so, but in this I get in the Ruach HaKodesh immediate that the things you do should be directed by Yahuwah himself. If you do things that are directed and ordered by Yahuwah himself, you do things that is at the same time a praise and a worship to him. And make this confession to Yahuwah, saying, O my beloved Yahuwah, the incomprehensible, the unfathomable, the unattainable, the pure treasure, purify me in love, for I am flesh and blood, and I run defiled to you, that you may purify me. I come burdened, and I ask that you may lighten my burden. A fire will burn wood, and your mercy will take away my iniquities. Forgive me, I that am a sinner. I forgive the whole creation that you have made. I forgive no complaint against anyone. I am at peace with all that is made in your image. I am unmoved by all the evil reasonings that have been brought before me. I am your servant and the son of your maidservant. I am the one who sins. You are the one who forgives. Forgive me and enable me to stand in your holy place. Let my sacrifice be acceptable before you. Do not reject me because of my sins, but receive me to you in spite of my many sins, like a sheep that has gone astray. Beloved Yahuwah, who has been with our father Adam and Abel and Noach, and our father Abraham and his son Yitzhak, who has been with Yaakov, be with me also, and receive my sacrifice from my hand. As you recite all this, take your sacrifice and offer it, and strive heavenwards because of the sacrifice of Yahuwah, so that you do not displease him, for the work of the priest is no small thing. If I read all these testaments, then I must come to the conclusion that we are completely lost. And we have so no clue anymore, because many things have, have been taken, hidden or away from us. And we got so far away from our beloved Father, Yahuwah, the Kadosh One. And also, due to the changements that happened at the stake, there are things that are now changed and we do in a different way, with the same effect but in a different way. Animal sacrifices is not needed anymore, that is gone. But we need to sacrifice ourselves now. And that's the whole point. That is something not many are truly doing. And it's the same with the appointed times, the feasts. Take the time in these periods to be with Yahuwah and to detach you from anyone in the world, and only be in the period that these feasts are, with him. Spend the time during the period of a feast, an appointed time, also called, with Yahuwah the Father. Read his living word, go walk with him, and spend more time with him instead of with the world, the worldliness, with others. That's also a sacrifice if you do that. The first period that is now coming is Pesach, and the week of unleavened bread, or matzah. Use that time and cancel every appointment. Be only with the Father. Do not see anyone, but only be with the Father Yahuwah. Detach yourselves from others, from the world, and be only with him. Every priest today and until the end of time must be temperate as regards his food and drink and sleep. Neither should he talk about events connected with this world, nor listen to anyone who is talking about them. This is a great lesson, people, what is said here. How many people are so caught up by everything that is being told to them, by all these talking heads, on the television, in the newspapers, magazines, by other people who say, oh yeah, the next thing that will happen is this or that, or blah blah blah. Is that of your concern? No. If you are in the Father Yahuwah, if you truly have trust and faith in him and in Yahushua Mashiach, you do not have to care about all these things. The only thing you have to care about is your relationship with the Most High, Yahuwah, the Kadash One. That's the only thing that you have to be focused on and have to take care for. Everything that happens in the outer world is of no use, is of no interest. And if the Father wants you to know things, he will let you know. He will guide you then to the information that you need to know, so that you know what is going on the chessboard. Because it's a chess game that we are in. So please detach yourself from all these people and channels and groups and whatsoever that are continuously busying with distracting others, distracting their fellow brothers and sisters, for one purpose only, that you are not in connection with our Most High and beloved Yahuwah the Kadash One. Rather should he spend his whole life occupied with prayer and vigils and recitation until our Yahuwah sends for him in peace. Every man on earth, be he priest or monk, for after a long time they will love the life of holy retreat, must renounce the world and all its evil cares, and join in the holy service the messengers render in purity to Yahuwah. And they will be honored before Yahuwah and his messengers because of their holy sacrifices and their angelic service, which is like the archetype that is rendered in the heavens, or Shim'on. And the messengers will be their friends because of their perfect faith and their purity. And great is their honor before Yahuwah. In a word, whether great or small, sinlessness is required of us. The chief sins worthy of conversation are these: You will not kill with the sword. You will not kill with the tongue either. You will not commit fornication with your body. You will not commit fornication with your thoughts. You will not go into the young to defile them. Wow! This refers to all those who practicing pedophile. Wow! You will not go in to the young to defile them. Wow! Oh! You will not be envious. You will not be angry until the sun has set. You will not be proud in disposition. You will not rejoice over your neighbor's fall. You will not slander. You will not look at a woman with a lustful eye. And do not readily listen to slander. We need to beware of these things and of others like them, until each one of us is secure from the wrath that will be revealed from the Shamayim. This is a tremendous lesson and message because all that he is mentioning is all carnal related, and I have presented a series that is called The Breaking of the Outer Man, and it's not without a reason that I started to do reading of the Testaments and at the same time also present this in-depth, informative, inspirational, inspiring studies called The Breaking of the Outer Man. So how marvelous Yahuwah is working through me is so great to see, because he knows exactly what needs to be known at the right moment. And in the Breaking of the Outer Man studies, it's all about to break the carnal, that's the outer man, and to make it submit to the inner man, which is our Ruach, that fuses eventually with the Ruach HaKadosh of Yahuwah. So, thank you, Father Yahuwah, the Kadosh One, that all that you let me do is in such a perfect alignment with each other. Now when the people gathered about him, heard him, they cried out aloud, saying, "This is appropriate and right." Amen. They felt that all that their father Yitzhak was speaking was words of wisdom and truth. But the Yahuwah loving old man was silent. He drew up his blanket and he covered his face. And the people and the priest were silent, so that he could rest himself a little while. But the messenger of his father Abraham came to him and took him up into the heavens, or Shamayim. He saw terrors and tumults spread abroad on this side and on that, and it was a terror and a tumult, fearful to behold. Some had the face of a camel, others had the face of a lion, some had the face of a dog, others had but one eye, and had tongues in their hands, 3 ells long, all of iron. I looked, and behold, a man was brought, and those who brought him went with him. When they reached the beasts, those who went with him withdrew to one side. The lion advanced toward him, tore him apart into little pieces and swallowed him. It then vomited him up. And he became like himself again, and the next beast treated him in just the same way. In short, They passed him on from one to the other. Each one would tear him into pieces, swallow him, and then vomit him up, and he would become like himself again. I said to the messenger, "What sin has this man committed?" "My master, that all this is done to him?" The messenger said to me, "This man you are looking at now had a quarrel with his neighbor, and he died without their being reconciled. See, he has been handed over to 5 chief tormentors. They spend a year tormenting him. For every hour he spent quarreling with his neighbor." The messenger also said to me, "My beloved Yitzhak, do you think these are the only ones? Believe me, Yitzhak, beloved of Yahuwah, there are 600,000 tormentors. They spend a year tormenting a man for every hour that he spends sinning, if he did not convert, that is, before he went forth from the body." He led me on and brought me to a fiery river, the waters of which were an ell high, and its noise like the noise of heaven's thunder. And I saw a host of souls submerged in it, and those who were in that river cried out and wept aloud. And there was a great commotion and much groaning. But it is a discerning fire that does not touch the righteous, yet burns up sinners and boils them in the stench that surrounds them. I also saw the pit of the abyss, the smoke of which went up in the clouds. I saw men sunk in it, grinding their teeth, crying out and wailing, and each one was groaning. The messenger said to me, "Look and see these others too." And when I had looked at them, the messenger said to me, "These are those who have committed the sin of Sodom. These are indeed in great distress." I also saw pits full of worms that do not sleep. I saw up the Merukos, who is in charge of the punishments, made all of fire, threatening the tormentors in Gehenna and saying, "Beat them until they know that Yahuwah is." I saw a house built of fiery stone, and there were grown men underneath it, crying out and wailing. The messenger said to me, "Look with your eyes and contemplate the punishments." I said to the messenger, "My eyes could not endure it. For how long must these punishments go on?" He said to me, "Until the merciful Yahuwah has pity." Well, that can take thousands of years. After this, the messenger took me up into the heavens. I saw my father Abraham, and I made obeisance to him. He saluted me with all the saints, and the saints honored me. Because of my father, they walked with me and took me to my heavenly Father, or Yahuwah. I worshipped him with all the saints. Songs of praise ran out. "You are holy, you are holy, you are holy, King, Master of hosts. The heavens and the earth are full of your holy glory." The Most High Yahuwah said to my father from his place, his holy place, "It is good that you have come." "Abraham, you righteous root and faithful saint, it is good that you have come to our city. Whatever you may want to ask now, may and make your requests in the name of your beloved son, Yitzhak, and they will be yours indeed." "My father," Abraham said, "yours is the power, O Master Almighty Yahuwah," said Abraham. And the Most High Yahuwah said to Abraham, "As for all those who are given the name of my beloved Yitzhak, let each one of them copy out his testament and honor it, and feed a poor man with bread in the name of my beloved Yitzhak on the day of his holy commemoration. I will grant them to you as sons in my kingdom." Abraham said, "My Almighty Master, if a man cannot copy out his testament, can you not, in your mercy, accept him? For you are merciful and compassionate." The Most High Yahuwah said to Abraham, "Let him feed a poor man with bread, and I will give him to you as a gift and as a son in my kingdom, and he will come with you to the first hour of the 1,000 years." Abraham said, "Suppose he is poor and he has no means of getting bread." The Most High Yahuwah said, "Let him spend the night of my beloved Yitzhak's commemoration without sleep, and I will give him to you as a gift and an inheritor in my kingdom." My father Abraham said, "Suppose he is weak and has no strength, can you not in your mercy accept him in love?" The Most High Yahuwah said to him, "Let him offer up a little incense in the name of your beloved son Yitzhak, and I will give him to you as a son in my kingdom. If he has no means of getting incense, let him seek out a copy of his testament and read it on my beloved Yitzhak's day. If he cannot read it, let him go and listen to others who can. If he is unable to do any of these things, let him go into his house and say 100 prayers, and I will give him to you as a son in my kingdom." But the most essential thing of all is that he should offer a sacrifice in my beloved Yitzhak's name. For his body was offered as a sacrifice, yet not only will I give you everyone called by my beloved Yitzhak's name as a son in my kingdom, but I will also give you everyone who does one of the things I have mentioned. And I will give you everyone who concerns himself about Yitzhak's life and his testament, or does any compassionate act, such as giving someone a cup of water to drink, or who copies out his testament with his own hand, and those who read it with all their heart in faith, believing everything that I have said. My power and the power of my beloved Son and the Ruach HaKodesh will be with them, and I will give them to you as sons in my kingdom. Peace to all of you, all my saints. Now when he had said this, songs of praise ran out. You are holy, you are holy, you are holy King. Yahuwah of hosts, the heavens and the earth are full of your glory. The Father said to Michael, or for many known as Michael, the chief messenger and archistrate, from the holy place, Michael, my steward, go quickly and gather together the messengers and all the saints, so that they may come and meet my beloved Yitzhak. And Michael sounded the trumpet at once. All the saints gathered with the messengers and came to the couch of our father Yitzhak. The Most High Yahuwah mounted his chariot, and the seraphim were in front of him with the messengers, and him is Michael. And when they came to our father Yitzhak's couch, our father Yitzhak beheld our father's face immediately turned toward him, full of joy. He cried out, "It is good that you have come, my master, and your great chief messenger, Michael. It is good that you have come, my father Abraham and all the saints." Now when he had said this, Yaakov embraced his father. He kissed his mouth and wept. Our father Yitzhak fixed his eyes on him and motioned to him to be silent. Our father Yitzhak said to the master, "Remember my beloved Yaakov." And the master said to him, "My power will be with him, and when the time comes, and I become man and die and rise from the dead on the third day, I will put your name in everyone's mind, and they will invoke you as their father." Yitzhak said to Yaakov, "My beloved son, this is the last commandment I give you today. Keep a sharp eye on yourself. Do not dishonor the image of Yahuwah, for what you do to the image of man, you do to the image of Yahuwah, and Yahuwah the Most High will do it to you, too, in the place where you will meet him. This is the beginning and the end." Now when he had said this, our master brought his soul out of his body, and it was white as snow. He greeted it and set it on the chariot with him. He took it up into the heavens with the seraphim making music before him. And all the messengers and the saints he freely granted him the good things of his kingdom forever. And all the requests our father Abraham had asked of the Most High, he freely granted him as a covenant forever. This is the going forth from the body of our father Yitzhak, the patriarch, on the 24th of the month Mesor, and the day on which his father Abraham offered him as a sacrifice is the 18th of Mechir. The heavens and the earth were full of the soothing fragrance of our father Yitzhak, like choice silver. This is the sacrifice of our father Yitzhak, the patriarch, when Abraham offered him as a sacrifice to Yahuwah, the Most High. The soothing fragrance of Yitzhak's sacrifice went up into the heavens. Blessed is every man who performs an act of mercy in the name of these patriarchs, for they will be their sons in the kingdom of the heavens. For our Most High Yahuwah has made a covenant with them forever, that everyone who performs an act of mercy on the day of their commemoration will be given to them as a son in the kingdom of the heavens forever. And they will come to the first hour of the 1,000 years, in accordance with the promise of our beloved Yahuwah Elohim, even our Yahuwah Elohim and our Savior Yahushua Mashiach, through whom every glory is due to him, and his good Father, and the Ruach HaKadosh, the giver of life to all creation, and one in being with the Father and the Son, now and always, forever and ever. Amen. And with this said, I have read the Testament of Yitzhak, and there's a lot in this, and if I would advise you, then I would say, please re-listen all these testaments and all these videos of all these messages and teachings spoken by Yahuwah through all these patriarchs. All right, thank you so much for listening, and I wish you a Baruch day, and Baruch haba b'shem Yahuwah. Do not forget to praise Yahuwah, our beloved Father, in everything you do. And I say, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Baruch Yahuwah, Baruch Yahuwah, Baruch Yahuwah. I'll see you next time.